Baylor Associate Head Coach Jerome Tang, Baylor men's basketball hosting Texas tomorrow. Early tip at the Farrell Center, 11 o'clock, Sikkim 365 Radio. Jonathan Chamachach was always kind of someone who gathers everybody up after a shot, foul, whatever. Did he kind of be more outwardly, even more of a leadership role Wednesday night?
No, I don't know that it was doing any more. I think the because he was so productive, the way they guarded us allowed him to have more production. I think more eyes were on him for what he was doing. But he's always been a guy that gathers everybody at every dead ball and, just kind of keeps the mojo going. He has such great energy about him that it's just infectious.
It appears to me, and I know it's been slow and methodical and probably sometimes a little bit frustrating for them too. But is Akinjo and Flagler, are they getting closer to back to where they were?
Yeah, they are. Every day we're getting a little bit healthier, and the prayer is that nobody else gets injured. That just everybody is on a healing process right now towards being back at full strength.
Right now, Jerome Tang, Baylor, Texas tomorrow at the Farrell Center. If UT, they have guard, they always have seemed to have length inside. Of course, they've had some guys that were one-and-dones as well. When I was watching them play the other day, it seems like they're taller, and then I look at their height, and it doesn't seem like that. Is that deceiving?
Well, I think they might be taller across the board. So, there's no 7-footer, but they have multiple guys that are 6'3" or bigger, and they can switch positions, and they're grown men. I think somebody put up a graphic the other day that their average age is 22, and the Oklahoma City Thunder is 22.7. So, they're just grown men.
Does Chris Beard still coach the same style at Texas as he did at Tech? And I say that because Shaka Smart had a style at Virginia Commonwealth and now at Marquette. But he didn't have that same style because of whoever he was getting at Texas.
Man, I think, Chris's culture, the 4-1, he always talks about wanting, street dogs and not yard dogs, and that's just something that he's carried with him everywhere he's gone and developed. And so he gets his team to play the way he wants them to play, what fits his personality, and he's won everywhere he's gone, and his teams have always been extremely well to play against. So I don't see these guys any different than when he was at Texas Tech or even before that when he was at Little Rock.
Jerome, what's going on with Matthew Meyer?
Life.
Okay.
Basketball mimics life, and you have ups and you have downs. And the thing is that, you just keep working. Smoak, we get up and we have bad days with our families. But you know what? We just keep working. We get up and we go to work every day. And that's what Matthew's learning to do. Expectations and success brings criticism and expectations, and we have to learn to handle those things. And Matthew is learning how to handle them in the midst of not needing some outside people's expectations of what it's supposed to look like. But as long as he keeps working and he keeps his hands on the rope and he keeps doing, the right thing and moving forward, it's the end result that will show, and whether it shows this year or a year from now, whatever it is, the end result will show. But the company that he kept along the way of this journey is what's going to be the most important thing for him. So it's life. People expect, these 18 to 22-year-olds to be perfect, and be everything that they want them to be every time out. And I think that's really unrealistic. Our job as fans, as coaches, as supporters, as mentors, is to support them on this journey and help them, make it through the tough times and help them have realistic expectations and an humble outlook during the really good times.
Do you feel like because of how he matured a year ago and what he's done during the offseason as well, that he's handling this much better, even though that maybe some of the production's not there on the court, that he handles this a lot better than he would have a couple of years ago?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think the thing that people don't get to see and no one gets to see is what a terrific teammate he is and how much he loves his teammates and all the little things that he does that you don't see in a basketball game or on a stat sheet that he does to help his teammates be the best version of themselves also. So, I'm proud of how he's been as a teammate, and I'm excited for him to make the next step and the next growth step that we see. And y'all, like I said, fans, they don't get to see that. They only get to see what happens in the game, but we get to see him every day. And those are the things that are really cool.
I know it's tough because you had obviously the Langston Love injury, and then a Kenjo, and then of course it was Sohan, and then a Kenjo, then Flagler, and now LJ. How is LJ handling things as far as the frustration of being close, but every day is different, or every day could be the same? And he obviously was in a great groove right before he got hurt.
Man, Els had a really upbeat spirit. He wants to get back on the floor, so he's doing everything he possibly can to get back out there. And he's putting in a lot of hours in rehab, doing everything he's told to do above and beyond. He's the kind of guy you got to hold back because he'll try to do too much. And so that might be the most frustrating thing for him is that he feels he can do more, but he's being held back some. But the other day he was shooting. I think it was the first time in a while he'd done some shooting, and he wasn't missing a beat. And so it was exciting to see.
Jerome, if in fact, and again, the things like what LJ deals with could be just one of those things that just goes forever. We don't know. You don't know. He doesn't even know. But if you get him back and Matthew does get through this time, can you guys go back to being who you were when you were 15-0?
Most definitely, and we're not far off. The difference between when we were 15-0 and right now is that the opponents we played at 15-0 didn't know us, and the opponents we play against now, they know us, and I mean this Big 12 is no joke. Like you can be prepared, you can play well and still lose. There's not a night that you can say, oh, we're gonna relax. Or we don't have to prepare as well, or we don't have to be as focused, or we don't have to play every possession. And, the nights that you don't do that, you get blown out. And in this league. And so this is different than any other league in America.
Last year, it was culture of joy, and that's actually also been pretty much your motto is what you guys have done. And that makes sense. You see players, you hang around them. Is this team close to that same type of togetherness and chemistry and camaraderie that you've had in the past? I don't ask that because you have had ups and downs in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I just ask that because you're there every day.
Well, I was telling someone the other day that, last year we didn't have a team. We had a family that had been together for 3 years. And because of the pandemic, it allowed us to have those guys for an extra year. Had the season not been shut down, I don't know if everybody comes back for last year. So we had a group of guys that they knew us, we knew them. You could tell. I mean, it was a really special thing. And now these guys we've only had together for a few months. Going on a year, and so you don't have the same kind of chemistry. You don't have the same kind of inside jokes. You don't have the little looks on their face, and there's some communication, but it is getting there. And the fact that we could do what we did early in the season, and we didn't really know each other, and we really didn't have that. It's what made it so exciting for what I feel like we can become. as we get healthy and we move on and haven't had spent all this time together.
Jerome, one more thing. Jerome Tang, Baylor basketball. Texas tomorrow, 11 o'clock tip at the Farrell Center. Scott blew a gasket, no question, Saturday. That's the maddest I've ever seen him. I've seen him in some of these, like, behind-the-scenes things, and I remember the morning or the day that you guys were in Kansas City when Perry Jones was ruled ineligible, and I saw the look on his face. He was pissed. I mean, you could tell that decision took the guts out of you guys, and then, of course, played Oklahoma that night. You went out there to kind of get him, but you kind of let him vent first. How important sometimes is it just to let it go?
I think it was really important for Coach to be able to get his point across to who he wanted to get it across to, and without crossing the line. And I don't think he crossed the line. In fact, I told him, take a step back and yell as much as you want to. So he stayed in the coach's box, so they couldn't give him one of those, cheap techs. But say everything he wanted to say, because those guys wasn't going to tech him the second time, and it just need to happen. It's just unfortunate that we, as a staff and as a team, didn't give the kind of effort, energy, and have the kind of focus we needed to allow Coach maybe to do that earlier in the game and make a difference, in the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, usually you get a tech, you want it to be able to change the tide of the momentum of a game, and we didn't play hard enough to even give that a chance, and that was the staff's fault, and we didn't have our guys ready to play, so hopefully we won't let them waste the tech again.
I thought that even though anyone can say what they want about the call on Matthew that wasn't there, the charge and all that, and what Scott, I thought that even though the guy was not having a great day, from Baylor's perspective, that a lot of officials would have ejected a coach for coming onto the court that much, wouldn't they? Isn't that kind of some respect, even though maybe in a different way for Scott?
Yeah, no, it was. You've seen guys kicked out for less, but and it was so, like you said, you had never seen that before, and so I think it probably stunned him and the other officials as much as anything.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for your time. Texas Baylor at the Farrell Center. Jerome Tang, Associate Head Coach, Baylor Men's Basketball, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Baylor in Texas again tomorrow. That game tips off early, and the backside of the Big 12 schedule. Texas has already had that huge win with Kansas. They play on the road in Lawrence later. They have Texas Tech coming up in Austin soon. That should be fun. And then twice against Baylor. And Baylor still has to go to Tech next Wednesday, and they have Kansas at home. We're now